and then we'll take questions. I'll take questions from the board, and then questions from the public as well.
Perfect.
Okay.
And I will try my best to answer those questions. This is actually my first time doing a little presentation on a proposed project. Usually I give presentations on our different programs, which this is one of them. So I first want to hand out a couple things that I thought would be useful. Can I take this mic off to hand this stuff out?
Absolutely.
Yes, you can.
Perfect.
Yes.
I've never been mic'd before.
I'm picking you up pretty good if you just want to leave it on the table.
Okay, cool.
It'll be fine.
So I brought our good neighbor agreement, because one of the things Suncommon does is we are actually a benefit company. So we have the triple bottom line of people, planet, and profit. So we're in between your normal company and a nonprofit, really. So just two of them there. So we really try to do good by the communities we work in and the environment that we're all a part of. I'm not sure how familiar, as I step on everything, you guys all are with Suncommon, but we believe that everyone has a right to a healthy environment and safer world, and clean and renewable energy is how we're going to get there. So, sorry, I know you probably received one of those. Okay, great. I think actually it might be easier if I just pass these around. The next couple things that I'm handing out are the proposed site plan and our little pamphlet on community solar. So I want to start off quickly just by talking about our community solar program. So our community solar program was started almost a year ago, and it was a program to help Vermonters who otherwise couldn't go solar, either because they live in the woods, or they rent, or they just didn't want solar on their house or on their or in their yard. So how this really works is there's an acre's worth of solar being hosted. Now it's just Green Mountain Power because all of the other utilities, well, the only other utility that we've been able to do this in has been Vermont Electric Co-op, but they have since closed their cap for both this year and next year. So they're no longer accepting any more renewable energy projects. But, so there's a little diagram in this pamphlet. Basically, there's an acre's worth of solar being hosted. Then all the energy that's produced by that array is read by a meter and then is all sent right back out to the grid. So there are no connections to people who buy into these arrays or anything. The way it works is that it helps benefit 25 to 30 members of a community. We try to keep these as local as possible. So under the what did I just call this thing? The Good Neighbor Agreement, there's a bullet point that says we try to keep this as local as possible. One of the things that I would do, or another organizer would do, would be start up a campaign, a locals only campaign, where we work within the community to find people to become members of this array. Basically, a membership is $1 up front, and that's to hold your place within an array, because we have to have these filled with members before we can actually build them. And then once the array is turned on and it's filled, the members would start paying a monthly membership fee. And basically, how familiar are you all with how solar works and net metering?
I would say on most questions you should consider us to be lay people at best. Okay,
I just didn't know how far I should get into it. But basically the idea of net metering is that when you have solar, you're basically sending power back out to the grid. And in return, you're getting what's called solar credits. And those solar credits go to offset your utility bill. So when you become a member, the only thing you own on the array is the solar credits that you get out of your percent share that you are sized to. Every percent share is sized to meet your needs, kind of like a residential system is. So basically, members get those solar credits, and they get them at a 7% discount. and that way they are getting electricity at a cheaper cost than they would get from the utility. The solar credits go to offset their utility bill, and they're just paying that monthly payment to Suncommon at that 7% savings, and it's guaranteed. We aim to make solar affordable for everyone, so we have the 7% savings on our CSA, and for our residential, we do it at no upfront cost. So that's really the background of our community solar and how we have it to help Vermonters benefit from solar who otherwise couldn't. This project is a proposed project. It hasn't been, so the Public Service Board has not agreed to actually build this project. We have submitted the CPG, and we're expecting, I believe we're expecting it to be okayed in the first month of the new year, so in January. Usually what we would do is we would start by doing outreach to towns before submitting these CPGs, but because Green Mountain Power has come to hit their net metering cap, they have submitted paperwork to the Public Service Board saying that they want to accept 50 more 150 kilowatt systems before they close those off. So what Suncommon has done, we've submitted multiple CPGs to get some more projects through, and this is one of them. But basically,
let me ask you a question here. What would you said you've done things differently in the past. I know on the phone you said to me you typically, there's a system or a way you go about it.
Yes.
And we're skipping some of those.
So we're kind of backstepping now. So this type of thing would have happened before we submitted those CPGs. We would have reached out that this was something we're looking at doing and that we are getting ready to put our CPGs out once we have all the paperwork done. But because the net metering cap came so fast, we had to get these out. So now we're...
So is the net metering cap met at this point?
So it has been, but the utility has the say to accept more projects if they want. So Green Mountain Power is still taking residential systems. They're okay with that. And they're going to continue accepting up to 50 more of these 150 kilowatt systems until 2017. Whereas like Vermont Electric, for instance, is no longer accepting any solar. Same with Hardwick Electric, Washington Electric. They've just been popping up everywhere.
Now, is that predicated on the Public Service Department approving additional net metering?
I believe it's for the larger systems. I believe it's just for the larger system. The utility can decide if they want. I believe the utility can decide if they want to keep accepting smaller projects for residential.
Are you certain, or you believe, or?
I believe. I don't want to lie. I can always get back to you on that.
Okay.
I should have started a little bit more about me. I'm a community organizer, so I know the basics of everything. If I can't answer a question, then I will definitely follow up on that question. So.
Okay.
So, like I said, this array is proposed. It hasn't been okayed, but this array, we have already done the site visit. That was done back in September. We did the wetlands. That was done in October, and then the CPG was filed right the week before Thanksgiving. So we've been in the process of working with Dwayne in this site. But we had to get that CPG in sooner than we thought. We've also taken steps to do a better outreach. I was talking to John, his last name Meir. He's the Weir, yes. I was talking to John the other day about this, and he voiced a couple concerns that he heard, and one of them was about current use. I guess there's some current use surrounding the site we chose. I talked to our CSA team, our community solar team, and they told me that wasn't an issue with this array. And when it comes to current use, we usually pay the penalty to take that land out of current use when we build these, if it comes down to that. And then for the abutter outreach, our typical process is we pull a title search. So when we do that, sometimes it misses some abutters. So if we hear of any abutters that we miss, we reach out as soon as we possibly can, send them the correct paperwork, and talk to them about the project. So those have been done in proper order, but this community outreach has kind of fallen back a little bit because of our timeline. So we are currently in the comment period, and that's why I wanted to come out and talk to you a little bit more about the project itself.
And just so everyone understands the comment period, can you just explain that to everyone?
Yeah, so this is the time where the public or the community can comment on the placement of the array, and everything, and it can be, I believe, brought into the Public Service Board. Like I said, this is my first time doing one of these presentations, so I'm still trying to understand all the bits and pieces of it.
No,
but
that's fine.
I believe that's the step. And there's 30 days from the time the CPG was submitted, and I believe we submitted this on the 14th. Let me just double check that. Okay, the 16th. Can't submit things on Saturdays. Right. So it was submitted on the 16th. So we're almost to the end of the comment session, but I was really trying to get into different meetings as quickly as I possibly could.
So someone in the public, if they wished, could make a comment to the Public Service Board, or to, who do they make this comment to?
I thought it was just to the select board. And then town went to it. I guess
So okay.
Yeah.
I don't know a lot about this type of stuff, but my understanding is the select board, we don't have jurisdiction over these type of things. So I guess I wish you had done your homework a little bit better prior to coming in, because quite frankly, it sounds like you're a little iffy on everything, you know. Since we've started this presentation 8 minutes ago, everything has been anew, and I'm not really sure. So, quite frankly, you know, what are you sure about tonight?
Well, I mean, everything I've pretty much said is true. It's just I'm not quite well. So I'm not sure who the comments go to. I'm assuming it's the Public Service Board.
Karen, you had a question?
Well, I have a comment.
Comment, sure.
Yeah.
So the Planning Commission and the Select Board can comment. They have automatic party status. You notify the Public Service Board that you are going to be parties, and you can make comments to the Public Service Board if you choose to intervene. It's a pretty formal process, but that's who you would comment to, is the Public Service Board.
But I'm more concerned with the public, you guys.
Yeah.
And who would you make comments to the select board, and we're supposed to take that information and go forth to the Public Service Board, or is it?
It's up to you.
No, okay, but the public can't have public comment to the Public Service Board?
The Public Service Board may grant party status to anybody that they think is affected by the proposal. It's not a decision to make lightly, because the Public Service Board is a very legalistic process. Mm-hmm. So, but it's up to them whether they want to allow anybody to intervene other than the town. The town is an automatic party now.
It sounds like the comments are only for people with party status to the Public Service Board.
Those are the only comments that they'll officially take. Yeah.
So if somebody from the public has comments, really their only recourse is to go to either the Planning Commission or the Select Board.
Or be an abutter.
Or be an abutter.
And if they're an abutter, then they can just...
And then we choose or not choose to bring those to the Public Service Board, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just to add a couple of things to that, even an abutter has to put in a motion to intervene, which is a pretty complex process with the Public Service Board. It's not automatic the way it is with the town. The town only has to ask. And there's a specific form for doing that.
And that's just as of this legislative session, actually.
Right, and it was that was the new law that was passed because there was I guess an outcry for more local control over solar.
Yes, that is true.
Right.
Yep. So I apologize for.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to get this clear so I know how it works. I'm not an expert on solar or how it's, registered or licensed or who, so I have no ideas.
Yeah, and I apologize for not knowing that in detail.
Okay, thank you. Jonathan, you had a quick question or comment?
You mentioned that there was a site visit in September. Who's invited to the site visit?
So when we do our site visits, that's when one of our community solar advisors go out, either Mike or Karen, and they take a look at the land to see if it's a viable site for a community solar.
So
right?
Suncommon.
Yes, so Suncommon goes out and does the site visit.
Because I'm an abutter, and I received the packet.
Yep.
And there was, I can't remember the exact wording, but it was something about you're allowed to make a comment, but no matter if they decide whether your comment is valid or worthy or whatever. And then,
Okay.
But the question that I have is if the planning commission and the select board are the avenue to make a comment, they meet every 2 weeks. And as you found out last week, we had a weather event, so there was no planning commission meeting.
Yep.
If it's a 30-day window, that means more or less there's like 2 select board meetings and 2 planning commission meetings, with weather permitting. And by the time the community learns about the project, and mostly what they hear is probably what they heard at the general store in town. It's kind of a rush through. I'm not opposed to this. But I just think that one of the things that's really a concern for me with all this solar that's happening all over the state is this stuff is just getting hustled through because we're saving the environment. And I think it's a lot of self-righteous promotion. And the community, broad community, is kind of like not part of the process.
Yeah, so
I think it's not doing, I support solar, but I think you're not doing yourselves a lot of good with this because it's creating a backlash.
Yeah, so that we have seen that occur. And the one thing I mentioned that usually before we submit CPGs, we usually go to the town and talk to them when we're about to submit one. And let them know what we're doing, the process, and then talk to them about the comment period. But because of the...
When you say town, you mean select board?
So, yeah, so we'll do select board, we'll do planning commissions, we'll talk to the different boards about this.
Did you go to either of us before this project?
We didn't, because we weren't going to submit the CPG until we were sure we were going to go through with it. But because of the net metering caps, we had to submit a lot earlier if we wanted to get these projects in. So there's a lot of, like I said, backtracking that a lot of the organizers have to do back to the towns because we skipped that initial step.
Given these rushed circumstances, is Suncommon able to request of the Public Service Board an extended comment period?
I don't think so. I think the 30-day period is set in stone.
I'm sorry, and when does that end?
That will end, I believe, on the 16th.
The 16th of December.
December.
Well, it's a 30-day period from the time
From November 16th.
Yep.
So
including November 16th.